Welcome back to Fiction First. Today, we're exploring, By Any Other Name, the powerful 2024 novel by #1 New York Times best-selling author Jodi Picoult. Known for tackling complex issues through emotionally resonant storytelling, Picoult returns with a dual timeline narrative that weaves together the lives of two women, one in Elizabethan England, the other in modern-day New York, both battling to have their creative voices heard in a world that silences women. With rich historical detail, contemporary commentary, and an exploration of authorship, identity, and legacy, By Any Other Name asks, what happens when brilliance must hide behind a man's name? About the author. Jodi Picoult is no stranger to writing stories that stir the soul and ignite debate. With 29 novels to her name, including Mad Honey, Wish You Were Here, The Book of Two Ways, and the beloved My Sister's Keeper, Picoult has become one of the most recognizable voices in contemporary fiction. Her books often center on moral dilemmas, social justice, and the messy, beautiful complexity of human relationships. A native of New Hampshire, she has also co-authored 2 young adult novels with her daughter, Samantha Van Leer. In By Any Other Name, Picoult continues her tradition of bold storytelling by reimagining history and shining a spotlight on the gendered erasure of artistic genius. Plot summary. In By Any Other Name, Jodi Picoult crafts a sweeping and emotionally resonant tale that spans centuries and continents. At its heart are two women separated by time but united by their passion for playwriting and their struggle for recognition in patriarchal societies. In present-day New York, we meet Melina, an aspiring playwright whose first major opportunity crumbles under the weight of academic politics and gendered criticism. Her college professor, whom she subtly calls out for harassment in her script, and a prominent theatre critic named Jasper Toller, dismiss her work as juvenile. Disillusioned but determined, Melina moves to New York City with her best friend, Andre, in pursuit of a fresh start. There, she uncovers the story of one of her ancestors, Emilia Bassano, and finds a wellspring of inspiration that reignites her creative fire. Emilia's story unfolds in Elizabethan England. The daughter of Italian musicians and secretly Jewish in a time of religious persecution, Emilia is bartered at just 13 to become the mistress of Lord Hunsdon. Though initially resistant, she gradually carves out a fragile sense of self. Hunsdon encourages her love of writing, but societal constraints forbid women from publishing. Emilia forms a covert alliance with Christopher Marlowe and eventually strikes a deal with a then unknown William Shakespeare. He takes credit for her plays, and they split the profits. One of her first contributions, Arden of Faversham. Meanwhile, in modern-day Manhattan, Melina begins writing a play about Emilia's life, fittingly titled, By Any Other Name. When Andre submits the play to a prestigious competition using a male pseudonym, it's accepted, prompting a moral and logistical dilemma. Things get more complicated when Melina realizes Jasper, the same critic who once dismissed her, is part of the production team. As the two grow closer, Melina discovers that Jasper's blunt demeanor masks neurodivergence rather than cruelty, and a romance slowly begins to bloom. In Emilia's timeline, life grows more perilous. Forced into a loveless marriage with the abusive Alfonso, she continues to write in secret, raising her son Henry in a volatile household. Her brief love affair with the Earl of Southampton offers a glimmer of passion, but duty and danger force her to walk away. Through it all, Emilia remains dedicated to her craft, pouring her voice into plays that history will attribute to others. Back in the present, Melina's deception begins to unravel. After a falling out with Andre and a heartbreaking betrayal when Jasper's article about her situation is twisted by his editor, Melina is left professionally blacklisted and emotionally devastated. She mends her friendship with Andre but breaks off her relationship with Jasper, retreating from the theatre world entirely. Years later, Melina is working a mundane job and living with her father, seemingly resigned to a quiet life. Then, a letter from the Athena Playhouse changes everything. She's invited to discuss producing her play, and to her surprise, the new artistic director is none other than Jasper. He explains that he took her criticism to heart, transforming the Playhouse into a venue that uplifts voices like hers, women and non-binary playwrights. The novel concludes with, By Any Other Name, finally being staged to a packed, adoring audience, Emilia's life and legacy celebrated, her name at last honored. Themes and symbols. The struggle for female autonomy. At the heart of By Any Other Name lies a powerful examination of women's enduring fight for autonomy. In both the Elizabethan and modern-day timelines, female characters find themselves contending with a world that continually denies them control over their own destinies. Emilia Bassano, constrained by the expectations of her gender and class, is forced to maneuver through a patriarchal society that reduces her to a decorative possession for men like Henry Carey. Even as she writes, her words must hide behind a man's name. The intersection of gender, power, and artistic identity. Picoult's narrative keenly illustrates how power dynamics intersect with gender, especially in creative spaces. The theatre world, whether in Elizabethan England or 21st century New York, is depicted as inherently male-dominated. Women, despite their talent, are sidelined, silenced, or forced to conform to masculine norms. For Emilia, authorship is impossible without male validation. For Melina, her voice is literally erased by a male pseudonym. The fragmentation of female identity through societal expectations. Emilia and Melina both struggle with fragmented identities, split between who they are and who society expects them to be. Emilia's identity is further splintered by her roles as wife, mother, mistress, and secret writer. Her marriage to Alfonso becomes a metaphor for legal bondage, where her body, creativity, and even desires are no longer her own. Melina, meanwhile, must mask her identity to gain credibility, her authentic self pushed aside in favor of a male persona that the world is more willing to celebrate. Intersectional oppression and resistance. The theme of intersectionality adds a powerful layer to the narrative. Emilia's experience as a Jewish woman in Elizabethan England intensifies her marginalization. She carries the weight of multiple identities that threaten her safety and limit her freedom. Gender, religion, and class coalesce into a uniquely precarious position. Melina, in the modern world, confronts a different version of this intersectionality. Though not as overtly persecuted, her gender still shapes her experience of power and validation in the theatre industry. The reclaiming of lost female voices. One of the novel's most radical themes is its reimagining of literary history. By suggesting that Emilia Bassano may have authored some of Shakespeare's works, Picoult challenges the canon itself. This isn't just a provocative twist, it's a metaphor for the many women throughout history whose contributions have been overlooked, appropriated, or erased. The cost of authenticity in artistic expression. Both protagonists confront the painful reality that being true to oneself in the arts often means being punished for it. Emilia writes with passion and skill, yet society demands her silence. Melina, whose plays are raw and deeply personal, is told that her stories are unworthy because they do not conform to patriarchal ideals. The emotional toll of suppressing their identities weighs heavily on both women. The power of connection in overcoming barriers. Despite the isolation they experience, both Emilia and Melina find allies who help them navigate their oppressive worlds. Emilia's bond with Christopher Marlowe and later with Southampton gives her moments of creative and emotional connection, even if fleeting. Melina's evolving relationship with Jasper Toller offers a different kind of partnership, one grounded in intellectual respect and mutual growth. Symbol: the game of chess. A recurring and evocative symbol in the novel is the game of chess, representing both the illusion of choice and the brutal reality of powerlessness. Emilia sees herself as a pawn, small, disposable, and easily sacrificed. This metaphor captures not only her personal experience but also the broader condition of women in patriarchal systems. Moved about at the whims of others, denied strategic control, she becomes emblematic of countless women forced to play a game whose rules they did not write. Character analysis. Melina Green. Melina Green is a portrait of a modern woman confronting the weight of historical injustice. As a young playwright in New York, she embodies talent, creativity, and passion, yet faces systemic erasure in a male-dominated industry. Her early experiences, particularly the harsh rejection by her professor and Jasper, shatter her confidence and teach her that being a woman and writing like one are artistic liabilities. Melina's arc is one of gradual awakening. Emilia Bassano. Emilia is the beating heart of the historical timeline, a figure drawn with lyrical intensity and profound empathy. A Jewish woman navigating Elizabethan England, Emilia is brilliant, sensitive, and courageous, yet constantly undermined by the limitations of her time. Her relationships with powerful men, Hunsdon, Alfonso, and Southampton, are each shaped by power imbalances, even as they offer moments of support or passion. Jasper Toller. Initially framed as a villain in Melina's story, Jasper evolves into one of the most compelling and nuanced characters in the novel. A well-known critic with a reputation for coldness, Jasper's early dismissal of Melina's work reinforces her insecurities. But as layers of his personality unfold, we learn that Jasper is neurodivergent, and his bluntness masks a deep commitment to the truth and an equally profound isolation. André plays the dual role of best friend and reluctant conspirator. As the one who submits Melina's work under a male name, he helps launch her career while simultaneously erasing her authorship. His intentions are protective, but the consequences are complex. André's character embodies the moral grey zones of allyship. He supports Melina, yet also makes choices on her behalf without fully considering the long-term cost. Alfonso is the cruelest expression of patriarchal control in the novel. Emilia's forced marriage to him is both a literal and symbolic loss of agency. He is violent, dismissive, and controlling, a man who sees Emilia not as a partner, but as property. Alfonso's presence in the story serves to heighten the urgency of Emilia's artistic defiance. Every word she writes is an act of rebellion against the life he's tried to trap her in. The Earl of Southampton. Southampton offers a glimpse of love and tenderness in Emilia's life, but his social position ultimately makes him unattainable. Their relationship is charged with passion, yet constrained by societal rules that value class over connection. His departure and marriage to someone of his own rank underscore the barriers Emilia cannot overcome, no matter how strong the emotional bond. Still, Southampton's genuine affection and admiration for Emilia give her brief respite from a life of subjugation. Why You Should Read, By Any Other Name. By Any Other Name is more than a clever literary reimagining. It's a story about the power of truth, how it can shatter, heal, and ultimately transform us. If you love books that challenge assumptions, blend timelines, and leave you thinking long after the final page, this one's for you. Whether you're a long-time Picoult fan, intrigued by gender-swapped literary history, or just love a novel that makes you feel and think, By Any Other Name delivers. What if everything you knew about yourself was a lie? Would you still be you? If that question haunts you as much as it does the characters in this book, pick up a copy of By Any Other Name today. You'll find the link to grab it in the description. Drop your thoughts in the comments. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the bell for more deep dive book reviews every week. Until next time, happy reading.